Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, everybody. It is Saturday, March 28th, and you know what that means. It is time for the High Risk Wrestling Podcast. I am your host, Jeremy Pierce. Welcome, one and all. Check out the socials, Charismatic Creations on Facebook and YouTube, Charismatic_Creations 52 on Instagram, and of course the 215 on Twitter. And today's show, well, has Wrestlemania lost its luster? That's what we're going to talk about today. Is Wrestlemania a big deal anymore? We're going to figure things out. We're going to talk about it. But for now, you know what's next. So just go on and hit my music. WrestleMania is upon us, and these are the 5 stars who could miss WrestleMania number 5. Carmelo Hayes, he just lost the United States Championship. That sucks. Carmelo is a star, but I think we're witnessing the reversal of what happened in NXT, where he was above Trick and now Trick is above him. So Trick now has the WrestleMania match. Where does that leave Melo? Number 4, Tiffany Stratton. It is very much Tiffy time. Yes, she just lost to Julia on SmackDown, but it was not for the United States Championship. Going from wrestling for the women's title the previous year to possibly missing the card, that's a tough axe to have here. Number 3, the Wyatt Six, one of the most enigmatic teams and groups in all of the WWE. What are they really doing besides feuding with the MFT? Yes, it's fine, but it needs to evolve and do something. Maybe a multi-man match, maybe Solo and Uncle Howdy one more time, but something's got to give. Number 2, L.A. Knight. Yeah, the megastar is not doing anything. That is very, very shocking. One of the most over men in the WWE has no plans for WrestleMania. How can this guy, who has pretty much everything, miss the showcase of the Immortals? Y'all feel me? And then, of course, number 1, Gunther. Now, if you believe the reports, he was supposed to face Rey Mysterio at WrestleMania, but Rey's hurt, and now Gunther has completely disappeared from TV. You're now losing all of that momentum of him retiring John Cena, him retiring AJ Styles, him retiring Goldberg, and now he's not going to do anything. Yes, he's lost pretty much all of his matches at WrestleMania, but they've also been big time matches. I don't know where Gunther fits into the showcase of the Immortals. We'll be right back. The spotlight is back on, and it's shining on Javon Evans. The young OG has taken Monday Night Raw by storm, and he's finally got like a true blue storyline to sink his teeth in, and it's involving Kofi Kingston and the New Day. Now, will this ultimately lead to a WrestleMania match for Javon at WrestleMania? I don't know. I'm thinking it's going to happen. I feel like he'll face Grayson, which I think he did on Raw. He'll then face Xavier, and then ultimately will end up facing Kofi Kingston at WrestleMania. We got to get these call-ups from NXT, the spotlight, and on the WWE, we'll talk about this a little bit later, they'll probably going to do that just to give him his moment. The question is, will he take it? Will he show up? Will he show out? I don't know. We'll be right back. WrestleMania, the showcase of the Immortals. It's coming up in a couple of weeks. We are in WrestleMania season, and we are at the tail end of the road to WrestleMania. So what is WrestleMania? Essentially, WrestleMania is the WWE's biggest show of the year. It's not their oldest show, which is, I believe, Survivor Series. But WrestleMania is where essentially a year's worth of stories comes to an end, and even some stories may start. But it is WWE's biggest show. For the longest of times, it was held right around early March, mid-March, but now it's being moved back to right around mid to late April, which works. This mainly happened because WrestleMania 40 in Philadelphia was a little chilly on the first night, and if you just move it back ever so slightly, a couple of weeks, you can avoid that chill. And more importantly, you're not going to avoid the I-95 corridor for WrestleMania. You're not going to avoid Philly. You're not going to avoid New York. You're not going to avoid Boston and Baltimore and DC. So, yeah, it's their biggest show. It's where things all come to a head. So, what is the appeal of WrestleMania? Well, for one, it is the biggest stage. It is the grandest stage of them all, as it's been called. Every company has their WrestleMania. WWE has WrestleMania, obviously. NXT, their development brand, has Stand and Deliver. AEW has, you can either say Double or Nothing or All In. Ring of Honor has Supercard of Honor. New Japan has Wrestle Kingdom. AAA has Triple Mania, I believe that's what it's called. So, most wrestling companies have their big show, but nothing gets bigger than WrestleMania. It's the biggest stage it's essentially the Super Bowl of professional wrestling. If everybody were to say put on their biggest show at the same time, WrestleMania would probably have the most eyes on it. I'm not saying it would be the best show, but it would have the most eyes on it. And the other appeal is that stars come to the WWE for WrestleMania. They want that WrestleMania moment, which we'll dive into. Some grow up as WWE fans, like Tiffany Stratton, like Mariah May, like Stephanie Vaquer, like so many others, where for the longest time there was a good stretch for about 15 to 20 years that the WWE was the only game in town. So a lot of the younger stars, younger wrestlers, that's all they had. Independent wrestling was floundering at the moment, but it came back, right? So stars, wrestlers want to be on that big stage. Is why part of the reason why the Lucha Brothers left AEW and signed with the WWE. But also, cities bid on it. Cities that don't need it bid on it. So there's always been talk of WrestleMania going to London. London doesn't need WrestleMania. London's the most tourist attracted city on the planet, and they don't have to give the WWE any money at all. They just don't. But other cities want WrestleMania. Other cities want to bring in all of that revenue, bring in all of that joy, bring in all of just the glitz and the glamour. I remember when it was here for me in Philadelphia, it was an amazing, amazing show. There's so much that goes involved into WrestleMania. It's a win-win for a lot of cities. And of course, the moments. The WrestleMania moment. That no matter if you win or lose, something is going to happen in the match, right? I'll give you a prime example. There was, I forget what WrestleMania was. It was Ryback versus Mark Henry, right? And this was when we were really pushing Mark Henry, pumping him. Not Mark Henry, we were pushing Ryback. We were pumping him up. And you figure, all right, Ryback, the new star, is going to be the one to defeat Mark Henry at WrestleMania. No. Mark Henry won that match. But Ryback got the moments by hitting the shell shocked on Mark Henry. So even though he didn't win, he got the moment, which is what they sell to wrestlers nowadays. And the last time that WrestleMania truly felt important, in my opinion, was WrestleMania 40. WrestleMania 40 was a really solid show, and it was bookended by Cody Rhodes finishing his story. So if we go back and we look at that card, right? I was there. That was in Philadelphia at Lincoln Financial Field. I thought the stage was underwhelming. The stage was very, very underwhelming. But we get into the card, right? So we opened up on night one, Rhea and Becky, with Rhea retaining the Women's World Championship. Two of the biggest stars. Then we had the six-pack challenge ladder match to determine the new tag team champions, right? Both sets of titles are on the line. You can grab both belts or you can grab separate belts, and we got two separate champions. We got A-Town Down Under, who became the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, and we got Awesome Truth, who became the Raw Tag Team Champions. The SmackDown Tag Team titles were later renamed the WWE Tag Team Championship, and the Raws were the World Tag Team Championship. Then we had Rey Mysterio team with Andrade. That was 2 years ago. That was 2 years ago. Andrade teaming with Rey Mysterio to take on Santos Escobar and Dirty Dom. Jey Uso beat Jimmy Uso. Jade, Bianca, and Naomi defeated Damage Control. Asuka still does not have a win at WrestleMania. Sammy defeated Gunther, ending Gunther's reign as Intercontinental Champion, and Gunther had already submitted the longest title reign ever for the Intercontinental title. And the main event was the Bloodline team of The Rock and Roman Reigns taking on Cody and Seth as part one of Cody finishing his story. We were to night two. Drew had defeated Seth to become the World Heavyweight Champion. Damian Priest and cashed in Money in the Bank to become World Heavyweight Champion. The Pride, Lord, Lashley, Angelo Dawkins, and Montez Ford defeated the Final Testament in a street fight. Bully Ray was the special guest referee. LA Knight defeated AJ Styles, which don't even remember that. Logan Paul defeated Kevin Owens and Randy Orton to retain the United States Championship. Bayley defeated Io Sky in a fantastic match to become the new WWE Women's Champion, and Cody Rhodes obviously finished his story. So WrestleMania 40 was a big show. It was the 40th WrestleMania. Whereas we go into WrestleMania 41, and this is where we talk about the crux of the show. Has WrestleMania lost its luster? So WrestleMania 41 was taking place at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, Nevada. Now you figure, not Las Vegas, well, Paradise, essentially Vegas. And you figured this would be good, but we go to Mania over the years, ladies and gentlemen. We go to Mania over the years, and we look at some of the shows, and WrestleMania 41 falls into that category. And I go back, let's say to 2015, right? And WrestleMania has been up and down. So WrestleMania 15 was WrestleMania 31. We came right out of 30. And 31 was a solid show, right? You know, we had the ladder match where Daniel Bryan won. We had Randy and Seth. That goes back that far. Main event was Seth cashing in the heist of the century. You know, we had some downs with Triple H beating Sting and Cena beating Rusev, but again, it felt good. But that very next year we got WrestleMania 32, which was not an enjoyable show, right? It started out really well with the IC title ladder match. It even stayed on par with Jericho and AJ Styles, but after that it was just a slog. The women picked things up to crown the new women's champion. And then we had Taker and Shane in the Hell in a Cell. We had the Andre Battle Royal. We had the Random Rock match, and we had Roman defeating Triple H in just a long slog of a boring match. And this continued. Like, WrestleMania barely got to the point of being exciting. It really, it stopped being appealing. So when we moved to the pandemic, right? we moved the pandemic, and it was the first time WrestleMania was 2 nights, and it was a work in progress. So that first night was really, really tough because you had to work with what you got, but it was back ended with Taker and AJ. That second night was fine. Didn't like Charlotte beating Rhea, but still, we got The Fiend and Cena. So after a while, Mania starts to become a slog. And then the merger. So the WWE merged with Zephyr. I believe it was Zephyr. It's either Zephyr or Endeavor to create TKO. And now the WWE is a fully publicly traded company, right? So here we are with Mania. And with this merger comes ad revenue. And we started this trend. So the merger happened in 2023, so 2 years ago. So if we look at the Mania before the last Mania before the merger, so 2022, right? It was back to being 2 nights. Night 1 was solid, right? Usos, and we get to the first truly good match, Bianca and Becky, because Becky's a beast, right? We got Cody and Seth. We ended with Stone Cold's last match. So night 1 was great. We get to night 2. This WrestleMania was held in Texas, right? We got the Raw Tag Title Triple Threat match. We got Edge and AJ. We got, that's about it. Roman versus Brock, winner take all. Other than that, again, the slug was fine. So then we move into the merger, 2023. That's WrestleMania 39. How would they fare? It was a really good show. Theory beat Cena. Fatal 4-way tag team title match, Seth and Logan, which was surprisingly good. Becky, Lita, and Trish beat Damage Control. Ray beat Dom. Rhea beat Charlotte in a fantastic match. Pat McAfee wrestled, and KO and Sami defeated the Usos. Night 1 of that WrestleMania, fantastic. And remember, this is 2 nights, so if we exclude the Pat McAfee match, which was random, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 matches. We go into night 2, and once again, hold on, I'm on to the wrong show. We go into night 2, right? And we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 matches were scheduled. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 matches. Is my math off? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, 6 matches were scheduled because Snoop wrestled and it was just random. Night 2 was fine, but you're seeing a trend here. You have this large and talented roster, and you're giving us 7 matches? You're giving us 7 matches. Night 2's actual bell-to-bell time or in-ring action was, doing a quick math, let's say 12, 20, 12, 30, 45, 47, 105, 140 at, let's say, 5 minutes, 1 hour and 45 minutes. My math is right. It's not a lot of wrestling for the show. Now, let me give you, let's me give you Double or Nothing. For the longest of time, Double or Nothing was AEW's biggest show. It is still one of AEW's bigger shows now that we have All In. Double or Nothing in 2023 wasn't a super great show, but it gave us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 matches. 9 scheduled because Chris Statlander got a random match. It still gave us great wrestling. And if we go to 2024, it's an even better show. We got 10, 12 matches. We go into last year's Double or Nothing, an absolutely fantastic show. So the thing I'm trying to get at is with this merger, ad revenue took over. Time in between took over. It got to a point where you were getting long downtime in between matches. And it's not just with WrestleMania, it's with all of the WWE reviews. They're giving us less matches, less wrestling, and more waiting in between matches. It's not uncommon nowadays to wait 10, 15 minutes between actual matches. That's not good. I remember at WrestleMania 40, once in a lifetime experience, was happy to go. I will never downplay that. But I'm there with my friends and I'm thinking to myself, yo, can the next match start? What are we doing? I'm here for wrestling. Now, mind you, me and my friends, we're going to Double or Nothing in May. I won't be saying, can the next match start? The merger has been a benefit for the WWE financially, but for the actual in-ring product, it has not been good. And it's trickled down from not only the big pay-per-views, but to the smaller ones, the premium live events. 2 nights, WrestleMania switching to 2 nights isn't the problem. A lot of us said for the longest time that it was a lot to sit through 15 matches for WrestleMania. And mind you, they don't even do pre-shows anymore. So the pandemic was a blessing in disguise of WrestleMania going to 2 nights. It's been the norm ever since, so much to the point that now SummerSlam is 2 nights. I wouldn't be surprised if eventually, because pigs get fed, hogs get slaughtered, I would not be surprised if they made all 5 of their big pay-per-views 2 nights. Rumble, Mania, Money in the Bank, SummerSlam, Survivor Series. I would not be surprised if they made all those shows 2 nights. And I think the Royal Rumble has already been moved up to 2 nights. So 2 nights isn't a problem. But you have this talented roster and you're not doing anything with it. You're not giving these people a chance to show themselves. We talked about it earlier with the list. How is it that Gunther and Knights and the Wyatts and Mello and Tiffany and so many others may miss WrestleMania? They don't even put the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal on WrestleMania anymore. They put it on the SmackDown the night before. So you can't even get that moment in front of the crowd. They don't do pre-show matches. They rarely, if ever, treated them of any importance. So 2 nights isn't the problem. You're giving us less wrestling. And then you don't stick to the plan. Now, I get it. Injuries happen. Things happen. But you need to have backups. Rey Mysterio got hurt. So you just don't have anything for Gunther? Make it make sense. Rey Mysterio gets hurt, and you don't have anything for Gunther. We've heard more and more recently over the years that plans keep changing up until maybe a month before WrestleMania. No, you are supposed to, in essence, lay out your year's worth of stories, and obviously things change. But by the time you get to the Royal Rumble, you should know what you want in your WrestleMania matches. Stick to that plan. And now here we are with them not sticking to that plan. Now, Another issue is, and I won't be on this point long, is that, well, now WrestleMania is going to Saudi Arabia. WrestleMania is going to Saudi Arabia next year. No one wanted that. No one. We wanted a foreign WrestleMania. Yes, WrestleMania in Tokyo, WrestleMania in London, WrestleMania in Mexico. Great. WrestleMania going back to Canada. Awesome. But to Saudi Arabia, to the people that give you pretty much most of your money. And what's hurt this WrestleMania this year is going back to Vegas. You stole WrestleMania from New Orleans, which they've had WrestleMania before. And now you can't sell tickets. And you can't fill the arena. And the funny thing is, you know they're going to lie about the attendance record this year. You know they're going to lie about it. You took WrestleMania from New Orleans. You moved it back to Vegas, a city that's already expensive to go to. And WrestleMania is becoming more and more like the Super Bowl, where it's not for the truest of true fans, the ones that love wrestling, the ones that eat, sleep, breathe wrestling, but the ones who can afford it, the sponsors. So can this be fixed? Absolutely, it can be fixed. The thing is, I don't think WWE wants to fix it. They don't see a problem here. They are not selling tickets like they have for previous WrestleManias. And yet, they don't see a problem. WrestleMania used to be that show you look forward to the most. And I think Mania has been usurped by Money in the Bank, by the Royal Rumble. It doesn't feel special anymore. And now they're making SummerSlam the equivalent of WrestleMania. I get SummerSlam is great, but it can't be the equivalent of WrestleMania. This can be fixed, but we won't fix it. They won't put more. It's funny. They won't put more wrestling on their wrestling shows. That's a crazy thought to have. They won't put more wrestling on their wrestling shows. And that, ladies and gentlemen, that's a problem. But that is our show. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. This was a tough one. This was a tough one. Look at the screen we got coming up. I think we got April. I think playing for April. Yeah, we got the April schedule. Should be going up soon. Check out the socials, Charismatic Creations on Facebook and YouTube, Charismatic_Creations52 on Instagram, and of course, the 215 on Twitter. And as always, Anna J, Willow Nightingale, Chris Statland, Priscilla Kelly, Either Dawn and Bailey. Holla at your boy. Peace.